Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're going to dig into a really powerful emotion, anger. We'll explore how it can completely throw us off course, and we're going to do it by looking at the incredible story of Moses, of all people, the gentlest man in the Bible. So let's just start with something I think we've all felt. You know that hot flash of emotion, the words that just tumble out before you can stop them, and then that sinking feeling of regret. We've all been there. Now, anger itself isn't automatically a bad thing, but it becomes a huge problem when we let it take the driver's seat, when it pushes us to think, say, or do things that are totally against God's will for us. And what's so fascinating, what really grabs me about this story, is that this isn't just a lesson for people with a short fuse. The Bible literally describes Moses as the most humble man on the planet, and yet even he stumbled, and stumbled badly, because of anger. That right there should tell every single one of us to sit up and pay close attention. Okay, so let's set the stage. You have to get the context here. The Israelites have been wandering in the desert for 38 years. 38 years! They are right on the edge of the Promised Land at a place called Kadesh. I mean, the finish line is right there, but you can just feel that everyone is at their breaking point. And this slide just lays out the tension perfectly. On one side, you've got Israel, with almost 4 decades of non-stop complaining and rebellion. But on the other side, you have God's absolutely incredible, faithful provision. I mean, for 38 years, he's guided them with a cloud and fire, he's fed them bread from heaven every single day, and their clothes and shoes didn't even wear out. It's just this unbelievable picture of faithful love in the face of constant rejection. But when they get to Kadesh and there's no water, everything just explodes. All that pent-up frustration and fear comes pouring out, and they aim it all directly at Moses. They're basically screaming that they would have been better off dying as slaves in Egypt. You can just feel the bitterness and despair in their words. And this is where we see the heart of God. Faced with this nasty accusation, his first move isn't judgment. It's not thunder and lightning, it's grace. He immediately gives Moses a plan to give the people exactly what they need: water. Okay, so now we get to the turning point of the whole story. The focus is about to shift from the people's sin to a single devastating failure by their leader. God's instructions couldn't have been more specific, and they were designed to teach a huge lesson. He wanted to show that his power works through his word, not human effort. All Moses had to do was speak to the rock. The miracle was supposed to be a public display that God's authority alone brings life. But after almost 40 years of this, Moses just snaps. You can feel the decades of frustration boiling over in this one moment. And in one furious outburst, he makes 2 massive mistakes. First, he just unloads on the people, calling them rebels. But the second mistake is way, way worse. He says, "Must we bring you water?" He puts himself and Aaron on the same level as God, basically taking credit for the miracle that's about to happen. And in that rage, he completely ignores God's clear command. Instead of speaking, he goes back to what he knows: brute force. He takes his staff and he hits that rock. Not once, but twice. His anger has pushed him into blatant disobedience. Now, water did gush out. The people got their drink, but the spiritual damage was done, and the consequence was absolutely heartbreaking. God tells Moses that because he didn't trust him, because he didn't honor him in front of everyone, he would not be the one to lead the people into the Promised Land. You know, the Bible actually explains this principle perfectly. In the book of James, it says that human anger doesn't produce the righteousness God desires. And what does that mean? It means our out-of-control, self-focused anger works directly against God's good and perfect plan. It gets in the way of his will and his character. It just derails us, just like it derailed Moses. But now let's zoom out. Let's pull back from Moses' personal failure and see the incredible message of hope that's actually woven into this whole story. Because this was never just about Israel in the desert. It's a story about all of us. Just think about it for a second. God's amazing patience, providing physical water for a thirsty, rebellious people. That whole thing was a preview. It was a shadow, pointing to a much, much greater act of love that he had planned. An act that would solve our deepest spiritual thirst, our desperate need for forgiveness from sin. And this verse right here, Romans 5:8, just nails it. It's the heart of the whole message. Just like with Israel, God didn't wait for us to get our act together. He didn't wait for us to stop rebelling. He showed his incredible love by sending his son Jesus to die for us while we were still lost, while we were still his enemies. So just like he gave water to the thirsty Israelites, God offers us something so much better: total spiritual life and forgiveness. He did it through Jesus, who came to earth, lived a perfect life, and then died on the cross, taking the punishment for all of our anger, our rebellion, all of our sin. And then he rose from the dead, defeating death itself. All we have to do is believe in him, and we are completely forgiven and welcomed into God's family. So what do we do with this? As people who have received this kind of incredible grace, how do we handle that powerful emotion of anger when it starts to well up in our own lives? How do we avoid making the same mistake Moses did? Well, look at Jesus. He faced unbelievable pressure and was falsely accused, yet he never sinned in his anger. Following his example, here are 4 really practical steps you can take in the heat of the moment. First, just pray. A quick, silent, God help me. Second, remind yourself that God is in control, and your anger isn't the solution here. Third, if at all possible, physically step away. Create some space. And fourth, once you've calmed down, ask God for wisdom on how to respond in a way that actually honors him. We have to remember the lesson here. For Moses, one single moment of uncontrolled anger, born from years of frustration for sure, it cost him everything. It cost him his lifelong dream. Our choices, especially the ones we make when we're angry, they have real, lasting consequences. And so this whole story leaves us with a choice, doesn't it? This week, when that moment of frustration comes, and you know it will, whether it's at work or at home or stuck in traffic, when you feel that anger rising, what are you going to choose? Will you let it take over and lead you down a path of regret, just like Moses? Or will you choose to pause, to trust God, and to walk on his path of obedience? Hey, if this story and what we've talked about today has been meaningful for you, it would be awesome if you could support us with a like and a subscription. We'd also really love to hear from you. Please share your own thoughts or experiences in the comments. And just know that your likes, your subscriptions, and your comments are a massive encouragement to us, and they really do help us create more of these explainers. Thank you so much for watching.